everybody, welcome back to Mrs. Wizard's Way. And today I was going to do a car review on my 2018 Maserati Levante. This is my daily driver. We've had it for about 2.5 years and everyone's like, oh, it's a Maserati. You're just going to have it in the shop all the time. And well, while it's in the shop today, it's just because I drove it here. And well, I own part of this shop. So it's not actually spent very much time in the actual lift area at all, other than some basic maintenance and one issue we'll get to in just a little bit. But let's really quick take a look around this thing. Hasn't really changed much in the 2.5 years that we've had it. It's doing a great job keeping me on the road. So here we are at the front and the beautiful Maserati Trident, and these Tridents are everywhere. So front of the car looking really good, nice honeycomb kind of grill in there, looks nice. Let's move around. Just have a little bit of dirt on it because I try and keep it clean, but it actually rained in Kansas the other day, which we are quite blessed for because it has been a very dry summer. So there is some watermarks. If we get really close, you might see a few, but otherwise it's in great shape. There's no dents, no dings, anything like that. Tires in good shape. The wheels are doing much better now that we have moved out of the country. We live on paved roads. This car is staying so much cleaner. These used to always be really, really dusty. As we move down, as I said, there's nothing going on. I drive this all over the place. Okay, well, not so much now that I've retired, but I used to drive this every day, and I used to put a lot of miles on this car. It's looking really good. If we look on the top, you'll see that there's a lovely, large panoramic roof up there, Wizards in the background. I really like this car. It's a really nice color, but I got tired of always having white, or gray, or white, which is, I promise a video coming on that one soon, why the purple BMW seemed like a nice change because I've had a lot of white vehicles lately. This was white. The Land Rover Discovery Sport was white. The car before that I had was a ML350. It was silver. So it's kind of like having some color going on. So you see that nice BMW there in the background. Let's go ahead and take a peek at that interior. Okay, ladies and gents, it says 71,644. And when we got this, it had like 18,000 miles on it. So I said, I've put a lot of miles on this car, but not so much now that I'm not doing that daily commute to teaching. But gauge cluster is nice. There's a lot that shows up in that center section. Not sure why it came back to life for us, but there it is. Dash, it has a lovely red and black combination, leather wrapped, of course, and it's in really good shape. One way I keep things nice and dust free, check out one of my hidey holes, is in the glove box, is I swear by one of these. Has a little brush on the end and the little duster wand. These things are great. Easy, just wipe it down, which happens a lot because there are a lot of trains in Newton, and this can be one of the things I do while waiting for that train to go by. But there's the first hidey hole. Got some Wizard sunglasses, got backup sunglasses, got some papers, and a few napkins. Leather wrapped. You can see I've got lots of fingerprints on that touchscreen because, you know, if you're trying to change anything, touch, it is hard to keep clean. As we move down, it does have a simple gear selector, and one of my hidey holes that's open, got some paper down there, got some cords, got a mask if necessary. Move down, some lip gloss. I did add nice coasters to the bottom, which does keep it a little bit easier to keep clean, but those do come out, and a selector for the infotainment system. We can change the settings in the drive mode as well. Parking brake and change our ride height. It can be done here, but it will automatically do that as you get faster going down the highway. Armrest has a double open and got important things like, well, another spare mask down there, and it also has some gum. We can also push this button and change whether it gets air conditioning in there or not. So that's kind of an interesting, because at the very bottom are some cup holders. So that would not be very convenient to have your drink way down there, but that's what's there. A lot of red is in here. leather seats, and they're in really good shape. No rips, no tears. I wasn't sure if I was going to like all this red, but over time it really has grown on me. As you see, it's got this trident stitched in to the headrest there. It is same as on the driver's seat. And then on our door card, we've got black and red as well, with an umbrella peeking out. And I said there's more red, and so we have more red here in the back seat with the trident stitched on the two of those headrests. It does have a 40-60 split, and it's got WeatherTech mats on the front and the back, so this stays pretty clean. I did not do any special cleaning today, and if you look, there are a few bits of dust in here, but nothing too bad. It's got a nice panoramic covered roof at the moment, and it's got some controls here in the center so I can open up garage doors and the roof and all that, but it's looking good up there as well. Back at our steering wheel. And this is where it's really hard. I will admit, I did clean this not terribly long ago, but steering wheels have a tendency to get extra grimy. And now this doesn't show wear on it, but on camera, you would be surprised at how much the camera picks up that the human eye misses. But it's in good shape. Got nice grip here on our leather wrapped steering wheel. Got controls on both sides, and I have been told that these are very standard, used in other cars as well. They're not fabulously exclusive to Maserati, but I'm okay with that. The rest of the car is quite nice, and if it's a button that's used in a GM or whatever, I'm okay with that. But we've got controls here for all sorts of different operations. We've got our change in cruise control if we're going downhill. We've got our spacing for our adaptive cruise, which is quite handy. And when Wizard and I drove to Dallas not long ago, he hasn't had a car yet with adaptive cruise, and he was like, is this going to work? Does it work? I'm like, yes, it really does. My daily commute, loved that. You just have to watch that you don't end up doing 60 and a 70 because you're just not paying attention to the speed that you're going. Oh, by the way, it does have flappy pedals back here. Don't actually use these much because there's really no point to it. It's not like the Maserati GranSport I had. That was what it exclusively was. But they are back there if we want them, or if I can ever get Jeremy Clarkson to go riding in the car with me. Anyways, let's get the hood open. So Wizard's going to promise me he's not going to cut off my head on this. But let's go ahead and get this open. Here is the Maserati V6 3.0 liter engine. It's basically based on the California T engine, minus 2 cylinders because that's a V8, this is a V6. It is twin turbo. It does have 345 horsepower. So as you look, there's a lot going on here. And even though it says Maserati on the valve covers, that's just the valve covers. You dig down deeper into the engine, it is based on a Ferrari engine. At the time that they were building these engines, Maserati was still using Ferrari as the source for their engines. That has changed, or will change very shortly, that they are sourcing their engines from another supplier. This is based on the California T engine. So lots of power under here, lots of good torque, and the only thing that we've had trouble with is down here. So if you look way down there in that bottom corner, Wizard's having fun trying to get this view. He's not normally the camera operator, but that is the air conditioner compressor. And it failed electrically. That's right, it did fail electrically. And that is the preferred way of having air conditioners fail. If they fail mechanically, that can send in all sorts of shards into the system. You got to do that whole change in, the evaporator core, the condenser, all of that. The lines have to be flushed. When it fails electrically, just that outer pulley goes out, then you only have to do just the one piece because the internal system, the lines are clean of debris. So even though that was a pretty expensive compressor, $1,000. So the only thing that we've actually done besides that compressor is tires a couple of times, because when we got the car, it needed tires already, because the tires that they always put on a car when it rolls out of the factory is the lowest mild tires that have been ever rated. So pretty much tires right away, and then we've put in tires again. And I got those after I quit teaching, so these should last for a number of years. The other thing we've replaced is inside there is the brakes. They go out after time as well. Being that this has 70,000 miles on it, it was time to replace the original brake pads as well. So I've done plenty of under car reviews, but I'm not following the Wizard. But now I'm going to go ahead and get this on the lift, and I'm going to do the review and make sure sway bar links are good and all that stuff. There's no, bushing's bad. So let's get this on the lift and take a look under there. So one thing we did before we put this up in the air is in the settings in the infotainment system is a setting to make sure it's in jack mode. Because with the air suspension on here, you don't want to have to retrain it and do all that stuff. It, in theory, could maybe hurt it, but we don't want to have to deal with anything because we do know that those suspension issues can be quite pricey. But if we look here, other than a few dead bugs we might run into, it's in really good shape. I don't see anything, any drip marks here, so that means that the radiator's doing good. There's nothing going on up here. So we move back. A lot of it's covered because that's what we do with cars anymore. But if we look here, nothing's shaking. I can't shake anything. The boots are looking good. I'm going to trust that the brakes are good because I don't have the special iWizard has to make sure that they are in good shape. But I don't see anything leaking. I don't see the brake lines doing anything crazy. You'll see that the struts are nice and dry, nothing going on. And the little ride height sensor is doing good. Sway bar link, I can't move anything on it, so it's in really good shape. Looking at the side of engine up there, you can see that nothing's leaking back there. So looking good. Let's try the other wheel. Boots are looking good. Nothing loose on the sway bar. Other boot is looking good. Ride height sensor, nice and in nothing going on there. Now the boots are looking weird. Nope, the only thing that's moving is back and forth, is going around, nothing going back and forth, and nothing loose in there. We move back. Oh, we've got a little bit of seepage back here, Wizard. Got a little bit of seepage going on there on the back of the engine, but dust. That's all I've got. It's not even dripping yet. So obviously we're not going to worry about that. If we look here, drive shaft, nice, nothing shaking in there. Transmission, no problems there. Everything's looking good, no dripping. Here's the other side of that little drive shaft, looking good. Only bits of rust we can see is on some of that metal that gets nice and hot, which is the exhaust. It is a dual exhaust, and we can look, it's dual exhaust all the way back. So as we move our way, it goes into a nice resonator right here. Just have a cross section right there, but obviously that's nothing wrong. Looks like our little itty bitty little rubber mounts are in good shape. Into this drive shaft, looking good. Nothing leaking from our differential. We go here, boots are looking good, looking good. Nice bellows to that rear air suspension. Nothing loose, looking good. Nothing shaking. So far, I'm doing okay. I've got one more tire to do. And guess what? I don't think we're gonna find anything. So again, looking good. Boots are in good shape, nothing leaking on them. No leaks on our brake lines or anything like that. Nothing going on. So, got just the bin here for the trunk space. This does not come with a spare tire. It does give you like the can of Fix-A-Flat is the best thing that they'll do for you. But as we look, it does branch off into dual exhaust. And Wizard, come out and look, you'll see all 4 of these exhaust tips are working. Not pseudo ones, not ones we're shifting out here. They also have the ability to change their sound as well. So if you'd like it to sound sportier, you can do that as well. So nothing was leaking in there, and you guys got to see my first undercar tour. So other than getting really dirty and holding Wizard's flashlight, other than needing to get a good wash, it's doing really good. Let's put it back on the ground. So that's it. It's been a really good car. If I do notice anything in a car I own, obviously I've got somebody that I can connect with and say, hey, what's going on? Something's weird. Okay, not everybody has that luxury, and I know that, and that's one of the reasons why car mechanics and guys who do a lot of work on the side, good shade tree mechanics, have really interesting cars, is because they can work on them themselves, and sometimes they can get a discount on the parts as well, which obviously I've got a guy who can do that. So I'm really happy with this car. Plan on keeping it. Notice that I have kept this longer than Wizard has kept many of his cars, but I really like this, and I am looking forward to riding the Z3, but it needs to get finished doing all of its new stuff on the engine bay. So there'll be a video coming on that soon, but I thought you might be interested in what else I roll around in. So that's all I've got for today. I'm gonna go wash up. I'll see you guys. Bye.